Welcome to Colorado Inside Out Postgame, a special web-exclusive production here on Channel 12. Let's get a quick take on the Denver Department of Human Services offering beds to immigrant children that are coming from Central America, part of the big immigration crisis we've been hearing about. Panic Cahoon from Westward, this is, it's obviously making national headlines, but this is going to put it front and center for Denver and Colorado politics. What do you think?
Well, we're talking about tens of thousands of kids, places they need to go, and probably Colorado is not the only group that's considering inviting them. But I hope Human Services mentioned this to the mayor, that they were going to float this idea. That Family Crisis Center is pretty much empty now. So it does have 54 beds, but it's not just having a space for these kids. You have to take care of them. They're guaranteed schooling by the Constitution, so there are going to be costs involved. And will the federal government really come up with enough money to pay for everything? So that's what will turn it into a political issue, not just for Hancock, but for everyone running in the state, because people feel very strongly about the immigration issue, one way or the other. No one, who's going to pay for this? Where does the money come from? The only thing I guess we could be grateful for is if Tom Tancredo were the gubernatorial governor, we would be hearing people screaming about it right now. So we've had a little bit of a rest period, but this is going to be a very hot topic in the weeks to come.
We've gone from a scream to just a mild roar, which is nice. Yeah, whimper, there you go. Craig Silverman, attorney and new radio talk show host at KNUS 710 a.m. Every Saturday morning, 9 to 12. What do you think of the ramifications of this decision by Denver Health and Human Services, which is based on a crisis, but there's shockwaves for the entire state?
Disaster. This is disastrous for our country to have immigration so unplanned. We have to have an immigration policy, and part of it has to be to let children or people who are fleeing really bad circumstances get into our country. For example, if Nigerians threatened by Boko Haram came to our shores, I'd say, yeah, I'd give them a place to stay. Central America has been bad for a while. They're coming up because they perceive there's amnesty. Barack Obama, I know the law was passed under George W. Bush, but Barack Obama could stop it if instead of playing pool at the Wind Coop with Governor Hickenlooper, he went to the border and said, this doesn't go. He could put pressure on Mexico. Mexico's letting it happen. Why? They're probably getting their palms greased. These poor people pay their life savings to coyotes who grease the way, put them on trains. They get to America, and we can't afford it in a variety of ways. It's going to be hugely expensive. We're going to have to hire lawyers, judges, the housing, the schooling. And Democratic politicians are going to be in trouble, because it's an easy call for Republicans. Even if you're not Tom Tancredo, you say, sorry, we don't want him in Colorado. But for Democrats, it's tougher. We shall see what the public says.
Eric Sonneman, political analyst. I realize it's hard to follow such a milquetoast moderate answer from Craig, but what do you think is going to be the ramifications from this decision in Denver for all the election issues in Colorado?
I think it's a national issue. As Craig pointed out, it is a humanitarian crisis on our border. It is also a political crisis. The president needs to be heard from in a way that he hasn't been. I have not seen much out of this White House over the last 6 weeks or 2 months as this crisis has built up, and it requires some clarity. It clearly points to the need for some comprehensive immigration reform in this country. But it is also fueled by the notion that immigration reform is on the way, so people are grown-ups are wanting to get their kids into the U.S. ahead of that reform, so that under the assumption there's going to be some kind of an amnesty, so they're here ahead of the amnesty. It's one of these laws of unintended consequences. It needs clarity from the White House, and also from a Republican point of view, where they're being pushed to adopt some kind of comprehensive immigration reform. Their demand is, first of all, let's get control of our borders. And the Democrats say, no, let's do the humanitarian thing, and then we'll get control of our borders. But this does not give one a whole lot of confidence that getting control of our borders is necessarily as easy as flicking a switch and dealing with this legislation. It is shameful that we do not have better control of our borders than this has indicated.
Natasha Gardner, senior editor of 5280 magazine. Immigration, there's a lot of issues that are tied to it. It's never going to be solved immediately, but now it's coming to Colorado, and we're going to do something about this particular aspect of it. What do you think?
And there's kids involved. And what politician wants to be against those beautiful faces on in front of a, you know, in need of help? What I think is amazing is we lose sight sometimes in the immigration discussion of what these kids have to go through to get here. That their parents or they make the decision to risk everything for the chance that Washington, who doesn't do a good job of getting things done, is actually going to do something on immigration reform. That risk is amazing to me, that they're willing to do all of that just for a chance to be an American citizen. I don't think it was entirely preventable, but we've known immigration reform has been a topic that needs to be addressed not only for months but for years and for decades. So now you have a heap load of children and you have to deal with it, and politicians are going to have to come to some sort of solution, because what are we going to do with these kids?
Good question. That's all the time we have for Colorado Inside Out post-game this week. Leave us a comment, tell us what you think. For everyone here at CPT12.org, I'm Dominic Dezzutti. Thanks for watching.